Hello guys, I'm Combo Movie Frame Productions, and I've been doing a lot of Marvel reviews lately, so why not take a break and take a look at the rival company to Marvel, and with Shazam coming out in the theaters this weekend, it's time to rank all 7 of the DCEU films from worst to best. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. Coming in last place, number 7 is Suicide Squad. This film is a mess, with clashing tones from ripping off Guardians of the Galaxy, so much so that DC hired the director of those films to direct the sequel. Its dramatic scenes don't work due to little character development established beyond the bar scene towards the end, and it's obvious that the film was restructured due to the film feeling unfocused, and there are too many characters that the film doesn't focus on much of them beyond Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Also, the film has an ugly look to it that you can't see anything. It has forced cameos and also has weak villains. And don't even get me started on the Joker. There are some good qualities to it, the action is decent, the characters the film does focus on are developed well enough, and it isn't boring, but it's definitely a victim of studio interference. Let's hope the sequel is better. At number 6 is Justice League. This is an entertaining movie that moves at a fast pace and is very light in tone and in the look, but it lacks a central vision. You can obviously tell how much this was changed and mangled into being the most standard superhero film ever made beyond Henry Cavill's removed mustache. All the ideas and setups from the previous DCEU films are thrown out the window, and it was just a carbon copy of the Avengers to the point where they hired Joss Whedon to do the reshoots. It lacks anything interesting, and it's just a bunch of superheroes running around oversaturated CGI environments, and it has a terrible villain. There are some fun amongst the team dynamic to save the movie from being truly bad in my opinion, but due to being so surface level and feeling neutered and stripped down for mass appeal, it's a film I rank low amongst the DCEU films because even though I can rewatch this more than some of the other films in this universe, this and Suicide Squad are the films that don't even feel like real movies. At number 5 is Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. The sequel to Man of Steel / the Batman standalone film / the Justice League setup film is okay. It definitely continues the dark perspective of these superheroes that was established in Man of Steel and introduces a lot of interesting ideas about Superman. Batman has a lot of good points against Superman, and Ben Affleck does a good job in the role. The action is well handled, especially that warehouse fight towards the end. The music is good, and you can tell Zack Snyder had a vision for the movie. What holds it back is how much the film is focused on setting things up. As I said earlier, it's mainly balanced between being a sequel to Man of Steel, a Batman standalone film, and a Justice League setup film with Wonder Woman thrown into the mix. It has too many subplots, plus I feel Superman is given little to do in the movie. He does more in the extended cut, but in the theatrical cut, he's barely a part of his own movie. And it takes way too long to get to the Batman vs Superman aspect, and it's only a few minutes in the 2.5-hour runtime. Or 3-hour runtime if you're watching the extended cut. Plus, the villains in Lex Luthor and Doomsday are terrible, and the whole third act is just a CGI fest, so you can barely tell what's going on. It's just a light show. It's fine, but not great, and if you're gonna watch it, watch the extended cut. At number 4 is Aquaman. It's a standalone film based on one of DC's most popular and biggest punchlines of their universe. Although it isn't as good as I remember when I saw it in theaters a few months ago, I still think it's a fun adventure filled with likable characters and crazy action with a lighthearted tone that knows what it is and rolls with it, with really good direction from James Wan to accompany it. The problems I have with the movie are that the effects aren't that good, the film ignores some continuity between Justice League and this movie, the soundtrack is terrible, using a Pitbull song of an Aquaman mirror in the desert, the romance isn't that good, and it's way too long at 2.5 hours, with some unnecessary characters also, but it's still a fun ride nonetheless. At number 3 is Man of Steel. This starts at DCEU, and the darker version of Superman is still one of the best in the universe in my opinion. Henry Cavill is good as both Clark Kent and Superman. It has a nice story that fleshes out Superman and explores interesting ideas. The score is great, the action is intense, and is entertaining overall. The problems I have with the film are that the romance could have been better between Lois Lane and Clark Kent, mainly within the writing aspect. The villains are weak, the effects aren't great, some of the cinematography is a little too handheld, some characters make stupid decisions like Pac and the tornado that is unintentionally funny, and the third act is too long and Superman definitely acts too destructive. But it's still a good movie overall, and I can't wait for the sequel in 2049. At number 2 is Shazam. This is a nice change of pace for the DCEU by making a superhero version of Big, mixed with Spider-Man Homecoming in some places. Zachary Levi is great as Shazam and has fun banter with his foster brother, and still being a 14-year-old in the body of a superhero. The soundtrack is good, the action is fun when it's on screen, the effects are decent, the comedy hits many bullseyes and is very funny. What really carries it is its emotional core about families that really brings the movie up a notch, mainly within the foster family aspect. The problems I have with the movie are mainly with the villain and the superhero aspects beyond the Shazam stuff. The villain has a good backstory, but should have been explored more, and I wish Mark Strong had more to do because the writing for his character isn't that good. Plus his associates, I'll call them, just to avoid spoilers, are pointless and should have been saved for the Shazam sequel, because they don't serve much of a purpose at all in the story, and he's already powerful enough to take on Shazam himself. And I wish we had more time with the Foster family because they have great moments, but the film dedicates so much time to setting up supernatural elements that it takes away from the core, and it could have paid off more in the third act, another aspect that could have saved for a Shazam sequel. Some characters make irrational decisions to further the plot, and the third act is way too long and goes on forever. But despite the fact that performances, action, entertainment value, soundtrack, effects, comedy, etc., all these aspects make the movie really good overall, and it's extremely fun. But coming in first place, number 1 is Wonder Woman. This is a blast to watch. This definitely handles the lightheartedness of these movies in the best way so far. With Diana being so whimsical in the dark world she's surrounded in that creates a lot of good comedy. The romance between her and Steve Trevor is very good. Both Gal Gadot and Chris Pine sell their characters. The rest of the acting for the most part is well done. The music is good. The effects are for the most part fine. Its themes work very well, the story is intriguing and explores these characters very well, and it's extremely entertaining and stands on its own. The problems that hold it back are that the villains are terrible, and basically the whole third act, mainly within the final battle, is just atrocious and just becomes a light show. Some of the comedy and effects don't work, and definitely at points rips off Captain America the First Avenger. But it's a really good movie and still my favorite film inside the DCEU, and I can't wait for the sequel coming out next year. So that's the list. What do you guys think of it? Leave a ranking and thoughts down in the comments, and also don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Also, if you want to suggest a series or franchise for me to rank, leave them down in the comments. I'm Combo Movie Film Productions, signing out.